evening, good evening. Welcome to another Tasha Talks. Today we have two lovely guests. We have Joel Seeley and Karen Bolcher, and I will give them a minute of time to introduce themselves. Just tell the audience what you are about in a short sentence, and then we're gonna start with the topic of today. Yay!
Ladies first.
Oh. Am I going first? Okay. My name is Karin. I come from the Netherlands, but I've lived in London for a very long time. I'm a photographer and I'm a social activist.
Powerful. My name is Joel Seeley. I'm in the UK, come from the UK. And I'm mainly a creator into music, creating music, writing songs, and also doing basically motivating people to live a better life. And more recently, I'm just been combining the two. So that's me.
Yeah. And Joel is our special guest today because the topic we're going to talk about today is all about living your authentic life, which is a short motivational video Joel's done the other day, asking the question, whose life are you living?
Bless up, beautiful humans. Okay, so this is video here. Basically, the host of Tasha Talks, I call her TT, much beloved TT. Yeah, we're having our usual talks that we do on WhatsApp. And I started to talk about basically, putting yourself first, you know what I'm saying? So we just keep it 1,000 all the way, you know what I mean? I put the couple of conversations that we had and all the bants and all that kind of stuff, and then what it led to, you know what I'm saying? So we thought, in fact, it was TT's idea to share this with y'all, you know what I'm saying? Like she said, look, like that was just massively powerful what you put in that voice note. Can you can we share it, you know what I mean? So I thought, okay, I'll just cut it together and do it for you guys. So that's exactly what I've done now. So much love to you. Thanks for the idea, TT. And yes, this is what came out of it. Bless up.
Listen, you ain't got. Thank you for explaining, but you ain't got to explain nothing to me. You know I'm a nutter, right? And I just say random stuff. You know what I mean? I like the banter. You know what I mean? I'm a joke or whatever. So, but I 100% get you. Like, I literally was that dude. I was that dude because I'm all about helps. I like to get involved with projects. I like to get involved with propelling visions, only for people that are actually visionaries, you know what I'm saying? However, there's something about this helps ministry. I'll just call it helps ministry because that's just random what came to my head, you know what I'm saying? The bottom line is the vision that we have, the vision that you have personally, the vision I have personally, that also needs huge attention. And it's easy enough for people to call on us and us feel validated because people actually call on us to help them with their important mission and their vision. However, ours is equally, or even not even equally, I'm gonna be 1,000 with you, more so important, because whatever mission, whatever vision, whatever goal and dream that we have, that's life stuff. That's the stuff that you put your life into. You know what I'm saying? So when you put your life into someone else's vision, it's good to be helpful and all that kind of stuff. It really is. And you learn some stuff and you pick up some valuable tools. However, it's still your life. It's still your time, your valuable time. It's still your weeks, months, and years, because that's how it ends. That's how it rolls out. You know what I mean? Depending on the project. And at the end of the day, when you're putting yourself, your time into, and your energy and your life source into someone else's project or vision, dream, goal, whatever it is, the more you do that, come on, you know what I'm about to say, yeah? It becomes a habit. It's habit forming. And you know what a habit is like? It's like a comfortable bed. It's easy to get into, but backside it's hard to get out of. You know what I'm saying? So that's why we need to stop and create new habits around our own self, around our own vision. You know what I'm saying? And make that habitual. So you're right to say no. It's not because you're being a I was gonna say bitch, but forgive my mind. Like, you're not being a bitch. You're not being a negative person. You're not being whatever. You're actually being wise and doing what you need to do to make your vision, your God-given vision, that which is sewn into your very being. It beats your heart. It gets you up in the morning. It puts you to bed at stupid hours. You know what I'm saying? That is what you need to be habitually putting your time into. So, and it starts by saying no. You know what I'm saying? It's all right, acknowledging the fact that you've got what it takes. That's why people call you to help. However, you have got what it takes. So pour it into your own thing. And that's where I'm at. It took a hot minute to learn this, TT. It took a hot minute to learn it and to realize it and to action it. You know what I mean? And now I'm there. That's why I'm here. I've had a long day of just, if you ask moms, you know what I mean? Like, she sees the grind sometimes when I allow her to see it. But back to back, one task and never task and never task. That's why it's only now that I'm in my cave practicing my drums, because I'm still a musician. I'm part of an active working reggae band that have gigs throughout Europe that's booked. If it wasn't for coronavirus, I wouldn't even been in this country to do the episode that we did, the interview, you know what I'm saying? So the bottom line is, we have to pour all of our energy into us. You have to pour all that you have into you, so that you can be the best that you can be and realize your visions, your dreams and goals. You ain't got no time for no BS. You ain't got no time for no nonsense to pull away at your time. If that's happened too many times throughout the years, it's time to pour it all into you and keep grinding until you see your vision come true. And as you grow in your vision, your team will grow as well, because your vision, done know, has to be bigger than yourself. That's why we work with God. You know what I mean? Because he gives us a vision that's bigger than ourselves, but we don't get phased by it because we're working with God. There's nothing bigger than God. Anyway, you know what? Back to the drums. Bless up. I'm done.
So because it's his topic, and we're going to start with Joel, I wanted to ask, what prompted you to make the video?
Basically, I was just thinking about the fact that so many people, they struggle with identity for a start, who we are, what we are about. And there are so many external influences, especially family and friends, that, and when I say influences, I'm talking about opinions that we validate. And some opinions are so strong that they come across to us as the voice of God. You know what I'm saying? And we give so much importance to it. And in actual fact, a lot of it goes against intrinsically what we really want to do with our lives and who we really are and how we express ourselves in our lives. You know what I'm saying? So it's so easy to live someone's version of how you should be living, what you should be doing, as opposed to your authentic self.
Absolutely.
So
Absolutely. That's so true. And it's like what you said, there's so many voices that we hear from the time we're born, really. We hear, and it becomes a competition. Oh, my child is 8 months and, they're running already. Oh, what? Your child is still crawling. No, but it's supposed to be walking now. Like, what's the matter with you? And so as I said, today's topic is about living your authentic self. And the question I would like to ask my guest, first and foremost, and the wider audience, if you're listening, to consider, because Joel spoke about identity. And I think that's very important. If we want to live our authentic self, the first thing is knowing who we are. So, Karen, do you know who you are, and would you like to share?
I think I know who I am, and I've always maybe been a bit of an outcast because I've always been a bit different from other people. because I'm creative, and I think a lot of creative people are a bit different. We're kind of different from the norm, which is why we creative or are we different, and that's why I don't know. Anyway, you better cut that out, Dennis, because I'm talking rubbish.
No, you're not talking rubbish, not at all. I just want to go a bit deeper because you said you know who you are, and
Yeah.
you said you're a bit weird. You're about, outside the norm. But could you be more specific? Could you pinpoint a characteristic of yourself or a personality trait of yourself which you would class as different?
Well, for just something superficial, I'm sort of a goth, and I've always been a goth, so I will wear clothes that are different from the norm. But also, I don't stick to just being a goth. I can just as easily today wear a bright pink dress all of a sudden. So I don't really fit in any box completely, I'd say. And also, I'd say there's other things like my decoration of my house will always be a bit weird to people. For example, I was just looking around me and I just see this behind me, and I don't think most people would put that on their desk. For example, it's like a skull in a.
Yeah, and that's your
So
decoration, yeah?
stuff like that, that's part of my decoration. And also, I kind of just don't like to stick to society norms. I kind of just do whatever I want as long as I don't hurt anybody with it. I don't see why I should fit the norm and behave like everybody else.
Yes, that's right. Have you always been like that, or is it something that gradually you've grown into being your authentic self, or what
No, definitely always been like this.
always been like this?
Always like the cuckoo egg in the in the family where I was just
Right.
the funny one.
And being, let's say, the odd one out, for lack of a better wording,
Yeah.
how did you experience that, especially being a young girl growing up, having to make life choices, career choices, partner choices, and I'm going to assume that those choices are also not according to the norm. So how did you deal with, well, let's say, the consequences of the environment reacting to your choices?
Well, I would say now I don't really care anymore, but when I was younger, I obviously did. And I did feel like there was pressure for me to just live a normal life, like get married at a certain age and kids and stuff. And I really wasn't interested in that. And but I did feel some pressure, like social pressure, definitely to conform. And I used to wonder why I couldn't. There was just something in me stopping me from conforming and be normal, so to speak.
So
So
was there a
there's
bit of
definitely
conflict then?
yes, yes, definitely in my family it was hard,
Right.
because they just thought I was well weird.
What about Joel? What would you say? Who is Joel? Like, we've heard what you do for a living, but who are you? And have you always been what you are or who you are now? And if so, if not, how did you get there?
I, 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 I have been like who I am. I've always been seen the one as pretty crazy or the weirdo. You know what I'm saying? I was very insular. I spent a lot of time by myself, but I've always been creative. Like I made one of my first bikes, that like my first BMX bike. I made it from bits and pieces. You know what I'm saying? My first skateboard, I had some roller skates, and I took the trucks off on the wheels, and I got a piece of wood and shaped it and made it. You know what I'm saying? And I spent a lot of time by myself, and but also, you know, I was quite a fat child growing up. So I grew up thinking that and believing that 100% that I was fat and ugly. So, you know, and of course you get your fat jokes and blah, blah, blah. I went through all of that and that never helps your
Yeah,
self-esteem, you know what I'm saying? So all
yeah,
I did is just, you know, retract away from the world into my weird bubble where
yeah.
I'm comfortable, you know what I'm saying? However, it was only later in life that I realized that the people that are saying these things about me really don't care about me anyway. And therefore I don't care about really care about them. So why should I even listen to your opinion? And it went even deeper to say that, you know, actually, because you mean nothing to me, your words mean nothing to me, you cannot even offend me, because if you say something to me, I would have to take offense. And in order to take offense, I would have to validate what you're saying, which I don't, because your whole humanity means nothing to me. Absolutely nothing. You know what I'm saying? And as a result of getting to that place, it helped me to fully own who I am and how I am. All the weird bits and pieces is like, I'm glad that I'm different. I celebrate the fact that I'm different, because actually it's the weirdos that have shaped this world. It's not
Absolutely.
conformist. You don't see it. It's not conformists that are known for shaping the world. It's the weirdos. It's the geeks. It's the ones that we're shunned and looked down upon. And you know what I'm saying? We're the people that shape the world. So yeah, I fully own my geekiness and my weirdities and all that. That ain't even a word, but it is now, my weirdities.
Yeah. Yes.
Back into life.
Sorry?
What did you say?
I said we put the spice into life.
Come on.
Absolutely.
Come on, that's right. We are the spice of life, the weirdos. And now, as a result of that, a lot more people are owning who they are and how they are. And that is just a knock-on effect. You know what I'm saying? We see it in fashion, we hear it in music, we see it in visuals. Man, it would be great if human beings came out the womb embracing first rather than judging first. That's what,
Absolutely.
you know what I mean? I got friends all over the world, and they're in different shapes, sizes, sexual persuasions, religion, whatever. And at the end of the day, we connect because of our pure humanity. I like you as a human. Oh, you're different. Teach me more about humanity through your difference. Forget this conformist nonsense. That's like that. But what they don't put in the books, or what they don't sell in the template, teach me about your humanity. Teach me about your culture. Teach me about the food that you eat. Why you prepare the food like that? Why you put that spice in there for? Oh, you know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
So your world opens when you embrace humans instead of judging, you know what I'm saying? And it starts with yourself.
Absolutely. And it's a very valid point what you said, about it's the non-conformists that shape the world and make the world exciting and invent things, and because they go outside the norm, and it's very, very good. What was I going to say? But I think it's very difficult in some cultures or some religious backgrounds, environments, to actually be your authentic self, and to kind of break free from what is expected. This like, marriage, carriage and a baby, or whatever, how it is in English. In Dutch we say huisje, boompje, beestje. So house, pets,
I
cat,
don't know
like these steps. Because, for example, I grew up in a religious household, and in the environment that I grew up, as soon as you turn 18, you get married. That is just the path that you're heading on. If you don't get married when you're 18, people start to look at you funny, like, what's wrong with you? Like, you start dating when you're 14, 15, 16, you get engaged at 17, and 18 is your wedding. And if you're not walking that path, like, what is actually wrong with you? What is your problem? Do we need to go counseling? Do we need to go in therapy? What's happening with you? Why are you not treading that path? And for me, even though I have this rebellious streak in me, the non-conformist streak in me, I personally found that a very, very difficult time. Okay, granted, I had to deal with all the things that I had to kind of merge with each other, which didn't actually merge. But that was even though I grew up saying, oh, I don't care, I don't really have a steady boyfriend, I don't care, I'm not engaged. If everybody in your environment, all your friends, the people that you know, that you hang out with, kind of go into that world of being married and having kids and getting a mortgage, and you're still then a 20 something, kind of like, okay, I don't want to get married, but I do want the man to want to get married to me. I want to be able to say no. So, it's like, what is, and then I started to doubt myself. And I mean, I have a whole heap of other things that played in the background why I lived my life the way I did. And, but I do think there's come a point where I just became like basically what the two of you said, that I don't care anymore. I'm just living the life that I want to live. And I don't care if you think whatever about me. That's your problem. That's not my problem.
I
And
think it's very liberating to get to that point.
Yes.
absolutely, it's absolutely liberated. And what I wanted to share with the audience and with you guys is that the more I am authentic, the more, and you know, Karen, you're a lot on Facebook, and I post a lot on Facebook. And I just write what I feel and what I think, whether that is conform or non-conformist, or people will think, oh my gosh, did she just say that? And wow, is she's supposed to be a Christian, and why is she writing that? And that and stuff like that. But it's very liberating. But what I found, I have people inboxing me saying that they find it so liberating that I'm just honest and transparent, because it allows them to be authentic and honest and transparent. So it's like what you said earlier, Joel, it has this knock-on effect that, oh, because you're honest and transparent and authentic, then I can be honest and transparent and authentic. And oh, she's the funny one, but oh, she does have depression, so she does have days where she goes totally cuckoo. Oh, it's all right if I go cuckoo a day. It's fine. I don't need to laugh and be upbeat all the time, and it's fine. And so I wanted to ask you, Joel, when you got to that point of freedom and you just came to the point, like the people who are criticizing you or are judging you for the fact that you're outside the norm, what how did that manifested itself?
Okay. First of all, just what you were talking about when you decided to get, into your authentic self, and then it licenses people or frees people up to be their authentic self. It's so super important as well, because you don't even know the extent of how people are receiving that. Like a friend of mine the other day, literally we were talking, and she said, I used to be this way and blah, blah, blah. And I'm talking like I'm listening. And now I'm just so free and this, that, next. And I used to thought that I would think I was weird, or I used to thought that blah, 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 blah. And then I just, all of a sudden I heard, but thanks to you, like you really freed me and helped me to, just be how, and I was like, I stopped. I was like, hold up, wait, thanks to who now? What? It's like, I've been watching you do
Exactly.
But because people, they are influenced by you, like especially if you're a free thinker and that is your energy. Like I didn't know that's what I was doing to her or for her until she actually said it. I was like, wow, okay, well that's amazing. And I couldn't I struggled to own what she was saying, but then at the end of the day, no one is telling me this to boost up my ego or anything like that. Just talking the truth. It's a friend talking the truth, you know what I mean? So it's important to, be our authentic self, because the majority of people ain't. You know what I mean? They're still living according to what you say. I call it the template, when you're supposed to grow up, get an education so that you can get a job, so that you can get a mortgage, so that you can, get a pension, so that you can retire early and sit around doing sweet FA.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But
I sometimes wonder, people who live like that, when they get old, don't they regret it?
Come
that
on,
always
come on, Karen. That's right.
And is this the old people that you see who are really grumpy, who are like sitting behind the curtain, looking what the neighbors are doing and stuff like that?
Exactly.
Not being true to themselves. They've not been true to themselves. There's a reason why people behave the way that they do, especially like you said, when they're older and they just turn all sour. because you probably lived in this little template according to these little rules, these little nodes that we put in our mind. And based on those nodes, that's the direction that we go. And that's the way we think, nah, man, just be completely free. You know what I'm saying? And so what if people think you're crazy? But to answer your question, I'm very, I can't help it being very proactive about stuff. When I realized that in actual fact, I had humans in my life that were blessed with the title of friend, I was like, oh, I had to moonwalk that back. I'm like, hold on, because I know what friend is like. The true friends that I have are family. Like, you mess with my family, you mess with my friends, you mess with my friends, you mess with my family. I'm dealing with it on the same plane. You know what I'm saying? Because these are the people that you expose your life and your heart to, and vice versa. And whether you see them now or in 10 years' time, you still got love 100%. You know what I'm saying? So when I realized there was particular humans that were in my life that were, you know, when the light comes on, you can truly see.
Yeah.
I went on a friend's culling. I went on a culling. I cut those humans out of my life very proactively, sometimes aggressively, because I didn't care. This is who you are. And then others, I had to recategorize them. Actually, you're not a friend, you're an associate. And we are associated by this common denominator. But that is it.
Yeah, absolutely. Very recognizable. That's why I make that distinction that between friends, associate, acquaintance. And sometimes I think my kids, they will say, oh, but your friend, and I will say, they're not my friend, they're my associate, they're my acquaintance. And it's like you said, you have one common denominator, and uni people, they're not my friends. We went to uni together. We had a time that we associated, and now we're not connected anymore because that time has passed. And absolutely, it's very, very important. And I recognize the cutting. Maybe I'm not that aggressive like you, not that proactive, but especially now on my Facebook, I've been deleting people, because I'm like, I don't actually know why these people are on my Facebook, because they're not adding anything to my life. I'm not adding anything to their life, because they're never commenting. They're never saying anything. So clearly, whatever I'm posting is not of interest to them. So why are we Facebook friends? There's no point. And that's social media. And as I said, in my own personal daily life, I'm like you, Joa. I'm just like, no, and you're not my friend. You're my associate. And I'm like you. If I have a friend, if I call you my friend, if I say you are my friend, know that I'm ready to take a bullet for you, just like I'm ready to take a bullet for my kids, because you become part of my family, like you said. And therefore, the term friend is very sacred to me. That it becomes very sacred, because it's like, I don't just call you my friend. If I call you my friend, and if I say you're my friend, we can argue and fight, but at the end we're gonna have to hug it out, because I'm not gonna let you go, because you're my family. The same way, I can't I can't separate myself from my kids. They're my kids. So even if we argue, they will be slamming with doors and shouting or whatever. You're my kids. I still love you. I'm not gonna get rid of you. So, and Karen, in your life, tell me, like, practical, how you dealt with the conflict of being different from your family and the friends and your peers.
Well, for example, with my family, for a long time, I did feel bad because I felt like there was something weird and wrong about me, and that they couldn't accept me for who I was. That used to really hurt me until I was like in my late 20s, and then all of a sudden, kind of what Joel said earlier, I thought, why do I care? Why is their opinion? Yes, they're my family, but if they can't accept me for who I am, I'm not doing anything wrong. Why can't they accept me? And I thought, I have to accept myself, and I have to love myself. And they're different than me. That's fine. But why would their opinion of me be the right one? Why would I my feelings are hurt about their opinion of me. When in reality, I'm not that keen on how they are either. And then I thought, well, fuck it, I'm gonna be myself. And if they can't accept me and love me who I am, then I'll accept and love myself how I am.
Absolutely.
Okay. Dennis is
Brilliant.
gonna have to bleep your
Brilliant.
last sentence.
Beautiful.
Sorry,
Beautiful.
Dennis.
Yeah, you gotta be real with that though. It's true. Like that's the other side of the coin. Actually, you're looking at me, bro. Like, have you seen you?
Yes.
Have you seen your life?
Judge me.
Sorry.
Who gives you the right to judge me? Why do you think you are higher than me?
Right.
Because you fit norm? Well, good luck with that.
Come on. If I'm like some people, I'm like, if your thoughts or a scent or a smell, damn, like that's some stinking thinking right there. Woo! Like, come on. Fix up yourself, you know what I mean? Sometimes when they talk about their opinions, whether it's like to do with current affairs or whatever, I'm listening to all this stuff. I had an ex-friend, and one of the ones that I had to cut off. Every I don't know, maybe every third or fourth word that came out of her mouth was just super negative. And the whole air of it was negativity. And it's one of those negativities that it gets into the atmosphere, then all of a sudden it starts to bring you down. You're having a good day. By the time you're listening to this person, especially if you care about them, you're taking on their feelings, their emotions. All of a sudden their bad day is your bad day. No, been there, done that too many times. I'm like, if I hear the conversation or I feel it, I'm like, okay, this is cool. I'm staying on my upbeat because I obviously didn't have the bad day, and obviously you probably need some of my good energy. So yes. I'm gonna listen to you, but I'm gonna throw it back like this. You know what I'm saying? Yes. Because I'm not taking it on. You need to switch how you're feeling, and also you need to kind of edit some of these words that you use about yourself. You know
Absolutely.
what I mean? In context with yourself. You know what I'm saying? It's the moment you say I am, be careful now. You've opened yourself up for creativity. Those are creative words.
Absolutely.
So you need to be very careful what you put after those two I am.
Absolutely.
And I can't stand it. I can't stand it when people say such, they don't realize this principle. They're creative. It's a creative, those two words, it's a creative principle. And if you're saying that negative stuff, then out of your mouth, so shall it be.
Absolutely.
It's going to be, if you believe that, whether you believe you can or you can't, you're right.
You're right. Absolutely. And it's so interesting because I'll show you, I'm sitting at my work desk and I have my work computer, and I'll show you what I'm looking at every day. Can you see it? Hold on.
Back it up a bit.
Hold on. I don't never know my left from right. Oh yeah.
There you go. Yes. Yeah. Absolutely.
And then this one.
Yes.
Yeah. So yes. That's what I look at every day to remind myself. So no matter what, if it seems to be a bad day, I have the power to change that. It's like you said, and it's very, very true, actually.
Mm.
But if you're, what I'm hearing and what I'm experiencing for myself, it took us really to get into, well, you guys were way ahead of me. You got in your 20s and you were like, no, I got there much, much later. I mean, it's probably the last 2 or 3 years. Well, I've always been doing my own thing, but I did feel the criticism. So even though I've been doing my own thing and saying I don't actually care, internally I did care, but I still was doing my own thing. But what I'm hearing from you guys, you've already internalized this, like from when you're in your 20s, that I don't care what you think, and this is me, and owning who you are. And I was wondering if you have some nuggets, some advice to our listeners and our viewers that, okay, it's all fine and dandy to say that, but how do you get there?
I'd say by accepting yourself, self-acceptance. and self-love.
Definitely.
And how does that
And
look
not
in practice? How does that look in practice?
that you realize you don't have to be perfect. You just have to be your best self and commit to that.
Absolutely.
Yes.
And even what you said concerning those notes, you see, a lot of people think that's weird to have these post-it notes all around with, these positive affirmations. But in actual fact, just as important as why you should write down your visions and your goals, so you can see it there and bring it off the page into the natural. Like, we need to have these constant reminders until it becomes part of us. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
So if you need to wake up in the morning and see some post-it, if the first thing, if you need this, because obviously you're talking about a transformational, change, you know what I mean, from
Absolutely.
whoever people think that you're supposed to be to your authentic self. So therefore, you need to decide who is your authentic self, what are the character traits, the personality, all that kind of stuff, and write some stuff down and read it back to yourself and meditate on that. You know what I mean? And have a list of I ams.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? And if anything that you hear outside of, from external sources, if it doesn't line up with your list of I ams, what you say about yourself, then it's an auto reject.
Absolutely.
You know what I'm saying? So practically do that. You know what I mean? Just like, okay. Like I said, I believe I was fat and ugly for a reason. Like, your boy used to eat. Oh my God. Listen. Don't even go. I'm a big foodie now. It's just that I had to change my mindset and my habits. You know what I'm saying? However, the same way that, and with the same fervor and vigor that I used to get to the size that I was, I just had to do the complete opposite. And here's another law or trick or a nugget for that to use. Whatever negative comes in your mind, stop. Like, get in the habit of stopping it, because we like to run with that thing like a train. Stop. Think of the total, complete, and absolute opposite of that negative, and speak it out. Speak it out. The opposite of that negative. Speak out the positive. No, I'm not this way. I am this way. This is the truth. And the more you keep doing it, we're talking about practical things to change, so that it sticks with us. We're creatures of habits, aren't we? So we have to create those new habits. And the new habits are the words, the thoughts, and the actions. So those are the things that we have to give attention to repeatedly until it becomes natural. You know what I'm saying? That's exactly what I had to do. When you were talking about the post-it notes and stuff, I'm like, yeah, I had to do that and then some. You know what I mean? I even had to visualize. I even had to put up some slim pictures and all that kind of stuff, or put up an image of what I thought was a confident man. You know what I'm saying?
We want to see those pictures. We want to see those pictures.
Now. This is the picture. Those they're gone now, but this is the picture. I had to be calm. Here it is. Take a snapshot.
We like. Ooh.
Yeah, so that's practically what I had to do and still do, because it still sneaks in. We're still surrounded by humans and external forces. It still sneaks in to challenge you. But
Absolutely.
That's stronger. You know what I mean? So
absolutely. And just for the viewers and listeners, I know Joel. Well, I don't know Joel from his fat time. I have seen the pictures. And yes, so yeah, good job to you, Joel. It's really fantastic. I mean, Joel basically lost a Tasha. He was 2 Tashas and he's lost 1. And he's looking all fit and fine and slim, as you can see right now. Look at him.
I used to do that, when my face was super round. I literally used to bite the inside of my cheeks to make my face look like narrow, like.
Oh really? Oh wow.
Oh yeah. I did. I got me some fat stories. I could probably put it in the book. You know what I mean? Because it's comical, but at the core of it was just damage. You know what I mean? My self-image, but it's comical to talk about it. You know what I'm saying? And I can look back and laugh. It's like, wow, you really were that dude. You know what I mean? Everything in my life supported that image. You know what I mean? Because I was unfit. I was unhealthy, not just physically, but spiritually, definitely mentally, you know what I'm saying? So all of that had to be dealt with. And before the external could be dealt with, I had to go and deal with the internal. In fact, I went away on a 4-day retreat. I was actually sent, a friend of mine, she phoned me up, and I was at my lowest point where I really didn't care if I lived or died. And she called me up because obviously she's spirit led. And she was like, "Are you okay?" I said, "No." She said, like, "I know you're not. Just give me 5 minutes." And when she came back on the phone, she said, "I booked you into this place. Where was it? It was in Brentwood, Pilgrim's Hall or something like that. It was basically a Christian retreat place, but just massive house with land and animals where you can just be at one with your God and just sort yourself out." And literally, I went there 4 days. I was fasting. I was just getting with God and getting with myself and just clearing everything out. And when at the end of those 4 days, I knew what I had to do to change my life, because it all started to happen from the inside out. And then from there, I was just obeying the little directions that I was given, little practical things, day by day, small things, step by step, because that's what it takes, incremental progress. And before you know it, all of those little steps turned into who you see now. And then it's about maintaining it. You know what I'm saying? Woo!
Yes.
Put it in a book, son. Put it in a book. Write it.
Yeah.
Write the book.
Yes, write the book. Write the book. Yeah, I do need to.
Positive conversation this time.
Sorry.
Huh?
I said the subject. We're having such a positive conversation this time.
It's beautiful.
Absolutely, definitely, and I mean, I know I'm joking about talking about the physical aspect of Joel, but as a friend, I know he is also very deep and very motivational. And well, maybe at some later stage, we can have more of the silly genes, then you know where he comes from. But no, he's very deep and he's very he's a great friend. So definitely absolute great personality. So is Karen. And Karen has been a regular guest on the show because she's supporting me. But yeah, so it's not only external what you guys see, it's internal, definitely internal. So I do take my hat off to you, Joel, and to Karen for you know, doing the inner work. And it's not easy because I'm still doing the inner work. And as I said, I've come far in terms of accepting myself. I've come far. Every now and then I still kind of fall into that trap of, but why are you saying that to me? And then, but it's like you said, Joel, I need to get, I got in the habit of, as soon as I get those down feelings or those negative emotions, it's like, no. If you like, you can say I'm this, I'm that, and that. To tell you, like a little bit of the part that I used to be really struggling with as a Christian and growing up, not even as a Christian, but growing up religiously. And I mean, my father used to be a priest in the New Apostolic Church, and obviously the daughter of the priest, and you know, you need to do all the things right and whatever. But all kind of through my life, again, partially because of things that were happening within that environment itself, but I've become very much like what I always say, I identify with Maria Magdalene in the Bible, if that says enough to you people, like, you know. So where Jesus says, go and get your husband, and she's like, I don't have husband. I don't have a husband. And Jesus said, yeah, and the man you're living with now is also not your husband. Like, hello. So, that is kind of my path that I chose. Basically, I was very promiscuous, and that was kind of my life. And if the thing, it was kind of dual, because on the one hand, I was honestly, I was enjoying that life. And I know that sounds really bad, especially I'm a girl, I'm a woman. You're not supposed to think like that. But on the other hand, so yeah, I was enjoying that. I was like enjoying the freedom to explore my sexuality, to do whatever I want to do in that area. But then at the same time, I get all the, like, basically thrown all the names, all the bad names that you can throw at me. And, you know, as I said, then you start to feel like, oh no, oh no. And what has happened because of that, because I really valid the opinions of people who didn't actually matter, I found myself getting married to somebody who actually I didn't actually love, but it was just for me like, okay, I can get a man, I can stay in a relationship, I can get married, like what like what now? You know, and I can have a family and a home and whatever. And yeah, it didn't work out too good, did it? Because, you know, it was not a happy marriage because, you know, for different reasons. But it, even if those, like, if the violence and the aggression wouldn't have been it would still not have been a happy marriage, because I didn't love him and I'm sure he didn't actually love me either. So, you know, but it's just, okay, that is the norm. You need to get married, you need to have a home, and it's very difficult. But so it's like what you said, Joel, you know, it's a constant, you need to tell yourself constantly that it's okay, who you are is okay, you are worthy of love the way you are, you are worthy of XYZ the way you are, you don't have to change to be worthy, to be lovable, to be whatever. And yeah, it's a very good point. I mean, some people, they use, you know, they put a bracelet around their hand. Every time they get a negative thought, they, you know, they claps themselves. And yeah. And so, um, Karen, you
Yeah.
know, I know Karen and I, we kind of have similar way of thinking because we grew up in the same environment, which is the Netherlands, yeah, which is already more progressive than Britain, yeah. So even though we've grown up in an environment, in a country that in itself supposed to be more progressive than the UK, we still found ourselves with these issues. And I'm going to take it a step farther because Britain, the West, is a bit more evolved than, you know, the Caribbean, for example, and Africa, where it's going to be even more difficult that if you are not living a life according to the norm. So could you guys give me probably Joel easier than Karen, but could you guys have some advice for people who grow up, or even here, people growing up in a certain culture or a certain, yeah, a certain cultural background or a certain religion, how to be strong and be yourself, like how to cope with that? Because you, Joel, you were proactive and you're cutting, you know, people out of your life, but if you're from certain religious backgrounds, cutting people off can be very, it's kind of like cutting a part of yourself. So what advice, especially again for young people, when you get older, you're able to deal with yourself easier, but for younger people, what would you say?
Um, it's definitely a love yourself thing, because you know this is something else that we're not taught in school. You know, the current education or even previous educational systems has never really taught personal development, these aspects, these spiritual aspects that will cause us to develop as a human, you know what I mean, and
Yes.
optimize our thinking as a human from earlier, the sooner the better, you know what I'm saying? So it's definitely a thing where okay, if a certain set of people are making you feel a certain way, and you know you're staying in it
Yeah.
because of for whatever reason, that you will identify the reason for a start, and get to a place where cut it off for yourself. Like stop allowing yourself. People only treat you the way you allow them to treat you. You know what I'm
Absolutely.
saying? Like even in an abusive relationship, like years ago, I was actually in an abusive relationship because my missus knew that I had a massive issue with men that hit women, to the point where my past self actively did stuff about that. You know what I'm saying? And so she obviously knew I had an issue with that. So the amount of times she came at me with hand raised or with weapon in hands and all that kind of stuff, because full well that actually the only thing I'm going to do is take the weapon out your hand and just sit you down best way I can and stop this nonsense. You know what I'm saying? But it's never going to go any further than that. You know what I mean? But even in myself, I'm like, okay, know that I'm never going to raise my hand to hit a woman. However, this BS, it's not for me. You get to a point where if you don't decide early enough, then you're going to end up malfunctioning, and the decision's going to be made anyway. Like when I made it, I could have made the decision not to allow certain people to treat me a certain way, like years, generations before. But I didn't. I kept on riding it. It took me a while to like myself and to love myself. But I got to a point when I broke. I couldn't take it anymore. That's where I went on that culling, because I'm like, I'm not having it. I'm in your face. I know exactly who you are, how you are. Some of them, it just had to be a block. But others, it was a phone call. Listen, if we see each other upon the road, like, just don't talk like we're friends. Like, we're not. I want to make it perfectly, clear now, so that once we buck up on road, you've got a response, not a reaction. It doesn't have to go a certain way, but let's just be real. You know what I mean? Because I am being real, and you've got nothing to lose. You've got everything to gain. It's yourself. You came out of the womb on your own with your own reason and purpose and desires. You know what I'm saying? So to anyone, especially when you're young now, we know there's all kind of pressure, whether from social media or your peers or whatever, but you also know inside, there's that little Noah inside. You know what you like, you know what you don't like. You don't have to accept it. You know what I mean? Even like I said, in an abusive relationship, even if I was that woman, the amount of time I've got friends, I know bare friends that have been in abusive relationships. I've also know a few that they couldn't take it, and no man ever will raise their hands, because they just won't get away with it because of how this woman has become. It's like, before you have a chance to raise that hand, the hand is removed from your actual body. Like, don't play. Don't play with me. And I'm like, that's right, you go, queen. That's right, you show them, because you're not made like women are the mothers. Without this world, without women, this world can't grow. Like, all these great men out in the world doing this, that, the next. You had the moms. You weren't no immaculate conception. It was a woman. It was a woman.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And you need to know how to treat your moms and treat women and stuff like that. And also know how to treat yourself. Like, I couldn't imagine being that abusive person, but what kind of stinking thinking have you got in your mind and in your heart? You know what I'm saying? So you also need to understand where it's coming from. When people treat you a certain way, where is it coming from? This is learned behavior. They've practiced it so much so that it's part of them.
Yeah.
You kind of really don't want that human in your life.
Absolutely.
You want them far away, far away. So from early, recognize what you don't like, and look at what you do like, and then pour your energy in what you do like. And eventually, by default, some people just drop off anyway, and it becomes easier. It becomes easier to sort out your life, who you allow to be in your life and access the treasure, which is your heart, and who wouldn't, because you're growing more into the person that you're meant to be, your authentic self. So naturally, the cutoff will happen anyway. You know what I mean? But focus on, actually give it some energy. Don't ignore yourself. Don't ignore how you feel. You know what I mean? Don't rationalize it. Don't do that. It's serious when people say these things about you. It's serious when people talk about you a certain way or treat you a certain way. It's serious. and it has to end. So end it. Give yourself attention. Turn all your energy back into yourself, who came out of the womb on your own, and sort yourself out. Prioritize yourself. Build yourself up. Because once you become the best that you can be, the true friends and the people that love you and that you love, everyone's going to benefit anyway.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well said. Anything you would like to add, Karen?
Well, as you know, I've lived in the Mediterranean for a few years, and the culture obviously is very family based. It's very religious, and there I think it's very hard for people to be different, to be their authentic self, because there's so many expectations of their surroundings and of their families and everything. But I would, in short, I would like to say to people who live in a community like that, still think about yourself, take yourself serious. Because if you conform to something you're not, you will never truly be happy. And it's also, I think, a bad example to future generations because nothing will ever change. If you don't do it for yourself, do it for other people, do it for other young people who also want to be different, who want to be their authentic self, and give a good example. And you'll be happier yourself because you can't live a lie, you can't live to other people's expectations and be happy.
Mm.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes. One point that I would like to kind of round this lovely conversation up with. Joel says, you need to think about the positives and the negatives of of who you are, and what helps me and might help others. Write down, look in the mirror, look at yourself, and write down on a piece of paper the traits you don't like about yourself. What you yourself, not because you've heard all the talk from your environment, but the traits that because nobody's perfect. We all have our things that, write down the parts that you don't like, write down the parts that you do like. And whenever you catch yourself manifesting or displaying the bits that you don't like about yourself, cast it out with what Joel said earlier, with the positive thing. Okay, I've sucked at this. I don't like it. I don't like, but I do like this part of me. So I'm gonna enhance the part that I like about myself and diminish the part I don't like. And gradually you turn in more and more into the person that you like to be. So if you loving yourself and you like the person that you are, it really doesn't matter what the environment said. It doesn't matter if you have chosen to go and travel the world and do jobs that are not considered very glamorous or fancy because you want to travel the world. You don't want to go to an office 9 to 5. You don't want to be working in the office in central London. You don't want to go to uni. You don't want to, all those things. It's fine as long as those decisions come from you, your authentic self. And the only way, if not the only way, one of the ways that you can discover that, to really look at yourself and think about yourself and reflect on yourself. Never mind the who do people say I am, who do I say I am, who do I say I am. So that's it. And so I wanted to leave you viewers and listeners with that. As usual, if you have any questions or you want to make any remarks, you can leave an email, a message, and we will receive it. And we can talk about that another time. The most important thing that I want you to take away from this evening's discussion is just live your authentic life, live the best life that you have, and don't let anybody tell you you're doing wrong, okay? You need to stay within the law. Don't go and do things outside the law and get in trouble. But apart from that, don't go and hurt people. As long whatever you like doing doesn't hurt anybody, it's not having a negative consequence on anybody. Live your authentic self. Enjoy life, especially now we're in the pandemic. We've seen material things, great. If you're into material things, if you want to have, like me, Louboutins and Armani and whatever. If that's your thing, cool. But let it be your thing because it's your thing and not it's somebody else's thing. Yeah, let it be your thing. If you want to live in a tent on the beach somewhere in Cornwall, do that. Do that. It doesn't matter as long as you are happy. Don't allow yourself to be defined by your environment, by the things that you have, how much money you have in the bank, whether you're black, blue, purple, red, whether you're tall, fat, short, tall. It doesn't matter. Don't define yourself by that. Enjoy
Yes,
your life. Yeah,
absolutely, absolutely. Well said. Totally agree.
guys.
100%.
All right, so that is it for Tasha Talk tonight. Have a lovely evening.